last 5 months is going to be a little anxiety inducing. Warning. It's important that we document this time, although it's been the craziest time that I've ever lived through, ever. And so much is ruined. I'm pretty sure in a month, March 2020 is going to be a blur. Why not try to remember everything now and just remember how this all happened? Okay, I feel like this is gonna be a long one, so I'm just gonna get started. I'm a dance major at Tisch. And our academic graduation plan is 3 years and 2 summers instead of 4 years. So we get our bachelor's degree in that amount of time, and we fill each semester with 19, sometimes 18 credits. And then we stay here in the summer for 6 weeks twice. And yeah, that's the plan, and that's why we graduate in 3 years. This pandemic is also shrinking the plan even more because, I mean, this summer was obviously didn't happen in person. Half of last semester obviously was, I mean, understandably taken away. Everyone had to go home and do the classes from online. But yeah, I feel like it's important to know that I've been at Tisch for 2 years, and this upcoming year is my last year. Hopefully, if I get through it, if I don't take a gap year in the middle of the year, gap months, drop out. What I've learned at this point is that we all don't know what's going on. So I'm not making any promises to myself, to anybody else, that this is my actual senior year. For this video, we'll say it is, but everything can change in a second, so let's just keep that in our minds. March 9th. What a crazy day. Let me explain. So I was in my dance history class. It was a small class, like 10 people, and we were like on Twitter in the back. Normal. My friend showed me that somebody tweeted that Columbia canceled classes for the rest of the semester, I think, or for 2 weeks. And there was already rumors going around, but this was like the first concrete thing that I heard about school actually getting canceled. And so we interrupted our history professor and told them about the tweet. Kind of interrupted class and started talking about it. I mean, this was news to the professor too. So we were all just kind of predicting what could happen, la la la. Then I go downstairs to buy a snack. We used to get a break to go buy snacks in that class. I FaceTime my mom and tell her what's going on. As I'm on FaceTime with her, my friend tells me that Fordham just did the exact same thing. So I'm freaking out, telling my mom, like, what if this is gonna happen to us? What's gonna happen? Both of us were in disbelief, and she was just kind of like, that's not gonna happen. You guys are performing arts students. You kind of have to be there in person. The class ends and I come home to my apartment. As the hours have been going by, another school announces that they're going online. And coincidentally, everything happened from uptown all the way down to midtown. So first around 12 or 1 p.m. it was Columbia while I was in class. And then Fordham. And then it was Marymount once I got home. And then at this point we're still waiting and we're like, okay, unless Juilliard cancels, Tisch probably won't cancel. And then around 5 p.m. my roommate sees, like, on Twitter or Snapchat that Juilliard canceled school for 2 weeks. And my roommate's just like, Juilliard never canceled school. It can be snowing and like a whole blizzard can be going on, and Juilliard never canceled school, supposedly. I mean, I don't know. So that's when we knew that it was about to go down. 30 minutes later, we receive the email. Yes, March 9th, around 5:30 p.m. we receive this email. Crucial changes to class meetings this week and the following 2 weeks. At our New York campus, we're holding classes in person until March 10th. Beginning on Wednesday, March 11th, we will move to remote instruction. All classes should meet remotely, So this was right before spring break. So that Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday we did remote. And then he announces that we're gonna have our spring break like regular. Not like regular, you will see it actually sucked. And then the next week was going to be online. Oh, I forgot to mention, Manuel goes to Pace. That's also below NYU. Like if you're looking at Manhattan, their classes got canceled like 2 days later, which is why I'm saying it kind of was like a ripple effect going from up to downtown. Then, President Andy Hamilton, he encourages people living in the residence halls to basically go home. He says, students departing for spring break should take any items with them, should take any essential items. Oh, I can't read. Okay, here it is where he kind of encourages. If students wish to leave following their last class on Tuesday, like the last in-person class, they can participate in classes remotely from their homes for the rest of the week. So the people that are freaking out about the virus obviously see that sentence in the email and they're like, you know what? I'm gonna go home now, which is what a lot of people did. And on that Thursday, we actually had improv class. I mean, that was a whole other thing. We decided to have that class in person as like a goodbye. But I mean, it was a very comfortable setting. The professor was super amazing about letting us all choose what we wanted to do and talking about what we're comfortable with and what we're not. I think I decided that day not to come in contact with anyone for that improv sesh, which I kind of regret. If I would have known that that was gonna be one of my last contact improv sessions for a long time, I probably would have just been like, you know what, I'm doing it. But in the moment with everything happening, I was kind of scared. So another super important thing before I moved to his email on March 12th, this whole time me and my friend Owen had been creating a whole multimedia projection mapping and choreography mixed together piece for the stage, and we received this email the day of tech, I think. So with all of this, with everybody trying to figure out how are we doing our academics, we're all trying to figure out, is the show canceled? Because there's multiple pieces, like it's not just about us. There was like 10 pieces and they're super hardcore because it was the dance and technology concert. So there's so much work that goes into it. It's like double the work to create these multimedia pieces. So it was so stressful to think that it might be canceled. It was also super emotional. Everybody was recording each other's pieces at tech just in case that was going to be the last time that it was going to be performed, in case we were going to be forced to go home or it was going to be canceled. Also, our piece was a large group piece, so then it was also like some of the dancers' parents wanted them to go home. I was like, should I try to relearn my choreography even though half the time I can't even do it, and try to go on stage and just do it with them just so it can just happen? It was so much. It was one of the most stressful times in my life because first, that piece had so much going into it. So that was already one of the most big productions that I've ever worked on, even though it's a student production. Still, thankfully, it didn't get canceled. None of my dancers had to fly home. The audience was really, really small, but with super good vibes and super good energy, because I feel like we all knew this is gonna be the last performance we're gonna watch in person in a really long time. There was like this super different energy, and it was like so, oh my god, I like low-key wanna cry. I won't. It was so eerie. Everyone was just sitting in the audience knowing what was up, knowing that the world was kind of just about to go downhill. So you can kind of picture in your mind. I'll put a snippet of that performance. See the performance after if you're interested, because it wasn't watched by many people and we put so much into it. So on to March 12th, remotely held classes. Looking ahead, we do not know when in-person classes will resume. At this point, none of us should contemplate recommencing in-person classes before April 19th. It will allow everyone to more fully embrace remote It will allow everyone to fully embrace remotely held classes, and it will give us more time to judge the right point. Huh? Okay, well yeah, at this time, I had my flight for Easter, and it was a little later, but we started kind of moving it up at this point because I was thinking maybe I should just go home now. I might as well just do the remote classes at home for a month or so. So I ended up moving my flight up. Obviously, with everything happening, spring break is trash at this point. Also, after our last in-person dance classes, nobody really said bye to each other. It was so sad. None of us knew that we weren't gonna see each other for this long. Anyway, March 16th, at this point, I had moved my flight to March 17th, so this is the day right before I'm gonna leave, and I actually moved my flight that day, I think. My dad was like, you know what, you're leaving tomorrow, so make sure everything is packed. Now he's making all the students in dorms vacate within 48 hours. It is March 16th at this point, and he is saying students must be out no later than March 22nd and preferably within 48 hours. So a lot of people taking their flights home, feeling safe at home, and now a lot of people are faced with the problem of, do I have to go all the way back to New York to pack my dorm up and then just come all the way back? Like, all that money wasted on flights? How are these people supposed to do it? I'm not in a dorm. A lot of my friends are, and a bunch of NYU students are. So it was stressful to see this and think about how a lot of my friends are gonna have to figure out how to get all their stuff back, and directing all students to return home for the remainder of the semester. This is when we officially found out that the whole semester was gonna be online. And this was such a stressful point because, as you can tell with all the passion that I'm telling this story, okay, I'm done with this. I'm done with these emails. I already had my luggage packed very lightly. I had only been planning to go until April 19th, and now it was going to be the whole semester online, doing pirouettes and leaps in my living room. So with all this confusing and changing communication, I just decided to go home with that small luggage. And we all had faith in summer. In summer classes happening, which they did not happen in person. But at that point, I had faith. I was in complete denial. I was like, things are gonna get better and we're gonna come back for summer session in June. So I left so much here in my apartment. But I'm also happy that I had that luxury to just leave my things in my apartment. So now, my online class experience. At home in Texas, all of our dance professors are racking their brain at this point, figuring out how to go about doing these dance classes online through Zoom. And this is all just so new at the time. They obviously don't get paid all these extra hours to be planning for us. So I'm so thankful that each of them came up with their own different style of teaching through Zoom. Whether it was doing some pre-recorded videos and being flexible with us doing the ballet bar on our own timing and then turning in the videos, which is also a pain in the butt. I tried to do it like 3 times and it was horrible because recording yourself doing ballet is first torture, and I was so picky with myself on each take and I did it like a million times, so I ended up sweating even more. But that's besides the point. I was really happy that they all had their own plan, whether it was successful or not. People in California, I am so sorry for you. I don't know how you guys did it. So many of my friends from California would wake up and take ballet at 6 in the morning. I would have failed out of school. No. Ballet at 8 in the morning was hard enough for me. I would fall asleep in the outfit that I would wear to ballet. Yes. I would just wake up, brush my teeth, eat a chia pudding, move all of my furniture to make space to take these classes, and then show up to the Zoom literally just like half asleep. Sorry if I'm all over the place. This is a lot to talk about, okay? I also started experiencing migraines so badly every time I woke up, which I think is the main reason why I also had such a hard time waking up at 8 in the morning to take ballet. And a lot of my friends were experiencing the exact same thing because we take 19 credits a semester. So I was on my laptop the whole day. My favorite pastime is to watch YouTube videos and to watch Netflix. So when I wasn't in class, I was probably writing an essay or I was watching something on Netflix or on YouTube. But I had to really start shifting that because since I was on my laptop all day long for school, I had to start trying to do more outdoor activities, like literally just sitting outside or riding a bike, anything just to get some fresh air, because it started to become so much on my body. I'm sure everyone can agree, even if you weren't taking 19 credits, being on your laptop for that long, it was so damaging to our brain cells. My acting class was actually also working on scenes with partners. It got so difficult because the scene that I got assigned to had so much screaming and cussing and throwing things. Like, I'm down to do that. I'm down. Here in New York, I can probably practice on the streets and nobody's going to care. But over there, practicing in my own home was even gonna be hard because the neighbor that shares a wall with me was going to call the cops. There was no question about it. And then okay, I should also talk about my comp class briefly. very briefly, because that was a horrible experience. Oh my god. I feel like for our comp class, which is basically like a choreography creating class, I feel like that specific class could have gone in a whole other direction than it really did. So what we were doing was watching these like old school videos that really didn't make any sense, and our professor was super into us being confused the whole time. Like, he loved when we were confused. He was like super into like that confusion kind of like fueling our creativity. I'm a very structured person and I like to know what is going on. Yes, I can watch abstract things and talk about them for days. I mean, I go to Tisch, so obviously. But this class was honestly not even abstract. It was just the most confusing experience. And that class was actually, I think, the most frustrating class that me and my friends experienced online. And it was frustrating and it was like kind of just ridiculous. I feel like at the beginning we were creating like for the box, so like we'd be like, you know, not actually like that dumb, but you know what I mean. We were trying to create with this like barrier of this square and trying to play around with that. So that was kind of interesting at the beginning, but then after we stopped doing that and just talking about random things, it was just like really frustrating. And that's when I was really just craving that time in the studio. It was seriously so frustrating. I just started like cooking on the side and eating my snack and then turning off my camera when I wanted to take a break and lay down. I don't know if it was just quarantine getting to me, but talking about this box barrier for hours is just like extremely annoying. It gets so old. Okay, that was so many negative vibes at once. Contemporary class is what really kept me sane. Pam, you're my savior. The approach that our professor had to that class was just amazing. It was like a whole meditation moment. Okay, we're gonna ignore the music outside because I don't have time. Anyway, the choreography was also tailored for small spaces since we were all working with different size spaces at home. And so that also is just really what kept me sane. Along with my video art class. I love my video art class so much. It was so good. I never wanted it to end. When it ended, I literally cried, and that's that it was online. I feel like that really just worked out for everyone because one, I took a projector home from Tisch. Finesse the system. Wasn't gonna let them take advantage of my money. Yes, I have a Tisch projector with me and I took it with me to Texas. Anyway, so I was able to play so much with that and with these programs that I have on my computer, and I got to do some projection mapping at home, and we all got to show each other all the crazy things that we were doing at home with our softwares and our projectors and stuff. And it was so inspiring to be able to see all those digital works from the other students, and it really is what I looked forward to every week. It was amazing. So now we're in May and the semester is ending, and that is when we basically found out that summer was a no-go. We were not gonna do it in person, obviously, because nothing was getting any better, and so summer was canceled, along with my one chance to study abroad as a student. So that's gone. Yes, I can travel and do whatever. Once you graduate college, there's that pressure of trying to find a job. I can try to ignore it. Yes, I can. When you study abroad as a student, it's all fun. You're like exploring, and you're taking pics, and you're experiencing, and you're like studying. I need chocolate milk. Okay, to add positivity to all of this, I am a firm believer that everything happens for a reason, and it's all sequenced in a way for a reason, no matter how horrible things can feel. And so I did get to have such a good time with my family and my grandparents that I wouldn't have gotten to experience if it weren't for all of this. And so I did get a lot of good quality time with them, and I'm so thankful for that. We got to go camping, we played lots of card games. It was a fun time with them. I also got to safely work on this project with my hip-hop teacher at home. I recorded some of her choreographies and we made them dance films. It was really fun. The reason for any of my complaints is the $85,000 that NYU charges. So briefly, the way Tisch works is so complicated, so I can probably do a whole other like 10-15 minute video about that. The way it works is your first and second year you take technique classes, and then you take dance academics like dance history, anatomy for dance, music, acting, different things like that. And we also take the regular academics that we need that are general education credits, and so that is why our schedule is so packed. And then our senior year, we're a part of a company called Second Avenue Dance Company, and it consists of the whole senior class. So we work with guest choreographers, and then we now have to apply to create a piece for one of the concerts. But basically, at Tisch Dance, you don't work with guest choreographers until your senior year, which is why the timing for the people in my class is so horrible, because we haven't gotten to have that experience with guest choreographers setting pieces on us yet. And now when we're supposed to, and we're also supposed to have our whole study abroad, it's gone. And then the seniors also perform all those guest pieces in the last concert, where supposedly very important people are invited, and that's when a lot of people get jobs. People see you dance and they're like, oh my god, we want you. Yeah, so that concert's really important. We don't know if that's gonna end up happening in the spring. But yeah, that's how the regular kind of senior year is supposed to look like. So let's talk about the fall 2020. How are the performing arts people going to be online, continuing everything that they're supposed to be doing in person on Zoom? How? How is it gonna be done? Well, for a lot of people in acting and other majors that are not dance, they are going to be taking their classes through Zoom. And it is so unfortunate because so much of what we do, it has to do with feeding off of each other together in a space. The dance department has actually made a plan for us, and a very flexible plan that we've been kind of involved in. We've had multiple meetings where we get to give our opinions and come up with different plans because we're such a small program. So they're trying to tailor everything to what would work for all of us. And so that's why we're gonna have the option of taking an academic semester in the fall and only taking technique classes just to stay in shape, or fully being a part of the dance department and the senior class and doing performances with the virtual choreographers, oh my god, with the choreographers virtually, and doing like dance films, or I don't know how they're gonna do it, I'm not a part of that one. And then in the spring, they're hoping that everybody can be a part of the experience with the choreographers, hopefully in person, maybe just with masks. And then those who didn't work with the choreographers in the fall, after graduating, we would come back in the summer and make up those classes and rehearsal time and performances that we lost in the fall. So they're being very flexible with us, creating different plans also because some people are not coming back, so the small program is going to be even smaller, and everyone's doing something different. So as far as I know, my class is kind of just divided. I don't expect to book a dance job right after graduation, so I don't mind staying in school after I graduate for just like 6 more weeks to make up that studio time that I need. I don't know, for me that plan just worked out perfectly. If you can't tell, I'm doing an academic semester in the fall with only technique classes, so every single day I'll have a technique class in person. Okay, so I didn't explain, sorry. Every single class is going to be 7 students only, with the musician and the professor. And we're going to be in these things called bundles, I think. Our classmates are not going to change ever. We're going to be with the same 6 people dancing the whole semester. They're also adding Saturday as a day to have class. I definitely am trying to get my classes just Monday through Friday. I don't want to come in on a Saturday. But they're spreading out the schedule so that there's less people in the studios. After my fall semester, I will have all my academics fulfilled. And then in the spring, I'm going to take my technique classes, the comp class, and just actually be a part of the company now. And hopefully get to work with choreographers. Then I would graduate, hopefully, and then come back in the summer for 6 weeks. Even though the fall semester is not gonna look anything like the way I thought it would, I'm still kind of excited to be more of a normal student. I'm taking 14 credits, and every semester I've taken here, I have taken 19 credits. Ooh. I'm excited to have more free time and less homework. Also, after having a positive experience with the acting class that I was taking in the spring, I've been taking some online classes with HB Studios, and I've had a really good experience. They've definitely mastered the whole Zoom platform. I think I'm gonna try to continue that in the fall. I'm just trying to get the most in-person experience that I can in the fall, obviously with all the safety precautions, just because I don't want to go insane like the way I did when everything was online. And so with technique being in person every day and having one academic that's going to be a hybrid, which is one day yes, one day no, with in person, it's called Latino Pop Culture, and I'm so excited. I hope I make Latina friends. In terms of actual safety and potentially people in my classes or my professors getting the virus, we just had a meeting yesterday because we've been having very frequent meetings with the senior class, and the impression I got is that, let's say if someone in our bundle, like the way I was explaining earlier, has symptoms or has already tested positive, then the whole class would have to quarantine for 2 weeks, which is really sucky because I feel like eventually it might happen, which is why I think it would be so much better if we had an apartment that had more space, because we would be forced to take those technique classes in our rooms or in our living rooms. And we all know, as students, we're all living in boxes unless you're rich. So that's gonna be something to deal with. But it's hard to know the exact details right now. I'm just gonna have to wait to experience everything and see how everything works out. For dorms, NYU has also said that almost everyone was going to get a single, and if not, it was going to be a double. And I actually got off the wait list for dorms because I signed up just in case I had to. But they wanted us to give a $1,000 deposit 2 days after they gave us the spot. And they weren't going to tell you which dorm they were going to give you. They also have dorms in Brooklyn, so you didn't know if you were going to get one in Brooklyn, and whether or not it was a single or double or with who or anything. So I just didn't want to take that risk and put down the deposit, but I wonder how the dorming is going to work out for everyone. Okay. I don't know why I do this when I'm stressed. Being a Tisch dance student is lovely and amazing, and ooh, the connections, and oh my god, the people that you're gonna meet, oh my god. But it's also so complex. It is so complicated. When I got here, I was so confused. I really didn't know what to expect. And so, if by any chance you are an incoming Tisch dance student, I feel so weird saying this. If you're an incoming Tisch dance student, or you're just interested, let me know if you would want another kind of video where I talk about my experience or the schedule. Because when I applied, I was like crazy looking up Tisch dance, NYU student experience, my secret into getting into NYU, all of those kinds of videos. I watched them all, and I never found any kind of informational video about the Tisch dance program. Never! The only reason why I had some kind of a sense of what the program was like is because I went to Tisch Summer High School right before my senior year in high school, so I knew how the building looked like and all that stuff, so I knew kind of what I was coming into, but I was still really confused about so much. If you think that a video about my experience here would be helpful to you in some way, you should comment. Don't be shy. Okay, I really can't tell if this video is gonna be like 12 minutes or just like 30 minutes, so we will see later. But I hope this was fun to listen to or to watch. It was unexpectedly fun to relive, in a way. Okay. Goodbye. See you next time. So casually keep diving into concrete. So bittersweet.